1800 hours, Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Farzana Khan. First, the headlines. Prime Minister has directed National Coordination Committee on Housing to simplify the process of issuing NOCs, enabling the investors to complete projects well in time. Information Minister says Pakistan will welcome investment by American companies in different fields and desires that they bring in advanced technology. Foreign Office spokesperson says no meaningful engagement is possible with India unless it creates enabling environment for the purpose. One officer and 5 soldiers embraced martyrdom in an IED attack by terrorists on security forces convoy near Razmak, North Waziristan district. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, fear and terror created by sweeping cordon and search operations of Indian forces claimed the life of an elderly woman in the territory. A landmark prisoner exchange between the government and Houthi rebels began today with hundreds of combatants heading on flights crisscrossing Yemen and Saudi Arabia. And now the news in detail. National Coordination Committee on Housing, Construction and Development was informed today that 112 individuals and companies associated with construction work have got registered with Federal Board of Revenue, and those will work on 123 projects. The committee, which met in Islamabad today with Prime Minister Imran Khan in the chair, was surprised that awareness seminars were also organized in Karachi, Lahore and Islamabad. The Chief Secretary Singh told the meeting that one window portal has been made functional and 19 projects have been approved, besides issuing of NOCs for 75 projects. The Chief Secretary Khyber Pakhtunkhwa informed the committee that investment in housing projects in the province has reached 83 billion rupees and a significant increase in sale of steel, bricks and cement. The Prime Minister directed that process of issuing NOCs must be made simplified and transparent to enable the investors to complete projects well in time. Minister for Information and Broadcasting Syed Shibli Farah says Pakistan will welcome investment by American companies in different fields and desires that they bring in advanced technology. Talking to U.S. Charge Affairs Ms. Angela Aguilar in Islamabad today, he said Pakistan desires to further strengthen the all-round cooperative partnership for mutual benefit. The U.S. Charge Affairs on the occasion appreciated Pakistan's effective handling of the COVID pandemic challenge. The minister agreed to the Charge d'Affaires view that whereas the corona pandemic affected conventional means of communication, it also promoted new modes, including digital communication. Angela Aguilar appreciated ministers' views on promoting Pak-US economic cooperation. Foreign Office spokesperson Zahid Chaudhry has said no meaningful engagement is possible with India unless it creates an enabling environment for the purpose. Responding to a question during his weekly press briefing in Islamabad today, he also made it clear that no dialogue or engagement with India is possible without ensuring active association of Kashmiris. The spokesperson said India will have to reverse ongoing human rights violations, extrajudicial killings in fake encounters, so-called search and cordon operations, and incarceration of Kashmiri leadership and youth in illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. He said attempts to change demography of Indian-occupied Kashmir need to be immediately rescinded. He said India should seriously consider course correction by giving up its aggressive agenda and peacefully resolving disputes with its neighbors. The spokesperson said Pakistan's re-election to UN Human Rights Council is a recognition by the international community of our contribution to the national and global human rights agenda and strong credentials as a consensus builder in the council. He said Pakistan will remain actively engaged with the council as well as its related processes to continue highlighting the plight of the Kashmiris and other oppressed people all over the world. He said India must be held accountable for egregious human rights violations and war crimes in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. One officer and 5 soldiers embraced martyrdom in an attack by terrorists on security forces convoy near Razmak in North Waziristan district. According to Inter-Services Public Relations, those who embraced Shahadat include Captain Umar Farooq, Naib Subedar Riaz Ahmed, Naib Subedar Shakil Azad, Havaldar Yunus Khan, Naik Mohammad Nadeem, and Lance Naik Asmatullah. This is Radio Pakistan giving you the news. At the United Nations, Pakistan has warned that India's hegemonic pretensions against its neighbors, as well as its refusal to engage in dialogue for dispute resolution, present a clear and ominous danger to international peace and security. A first secretary at the Pakistan mission to the UN in New York, Jahazib Khan, speaking at General Assembly, said New Delhi's illegal actions in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir further compound regional security concerns. He said that India's senior political and military leadership has openly resorted to irresponsible rhetoric against Pakistan, which reflects a dangerous hegemonic mindset. As regards Jammu and Kashmir, the Pakistan representative said the disputed state was neither an integral part of India nor is it New Delhi's internal matter. He said in accordance with several UN Security Council resolutions, it is an internationally recognized disputed territory whose final status is to be decided through a UN-supervised plebiscite and in line with the wishes and aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, fear and terror created by sweeping cordon and search operations of Indian forces claimed the life of an elderly woman in the territory. According to Kashmir Media Service, the woman died of heart attack after brutal Indian troops broke into her home, tortured and abused inmates, and took her two sons along in Pulwama district today. APHC General Secretary Maulvi Bashir Ahmed, in a statement in Srinagar, greeted Pakistan on becoming a member of the United Nations Human Rights Council and hoped that Islamabad would use the opportunity to further expose the ugly face of India before the world community. Kyrgyz President Suranbay Jeenbekov has resigned after days of protests following a disputed election that plunged the country into turmoil. He said in a statement that I do not want to go down in Kyrgyzstan's history as a president who shed blood and shot at his own citizens. Mr. Jeenbekov becomes the third president of the Central Asian state, which gained independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, to be ousted by a popular uprising since 2005. Human Rights Watch has accused the Syria-Russian alliance of committing possible war crimes and crimes against humanity by attacking civilians in Idlib province and called for sanctions against top military officials. In a 167-page report released today, the New York-based rights body states that repeated attacks on civilian infrastructure in Idlib between 1 year violated international law. The report, titled Targeting Life in Idlib, Syrian and Russian Strikes on Civilian Infrastructure, documents and examined 46 attacks on civilian infrastructure, such as schools and hospitals in the area, during the 11th month offensive. China has said that the United States is seriously undermining peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait after a U.S. Navy destroyer sailed through the waters amid escalating tensions between Beijing and Taipei. A spokesman for China, Shang Yunchai, in a statement said that the Chinese military followed and monitored the USS Barry as the destroyer traveled through the strait on Wednesday. A landmark prisoner exchange between the government and Houthi rebels began today, with hundreds of combatants heading home on flights crisscrossing Yemen and Saudi Arabia. Yemeni government sources said today that a group of 230 Houthi prisoners arrived at Sion Airport in Hadramaut region. And finally, the weather report. Mainly dry weather is likely to prevail over most parts of the country, while hot in plain areas during the next 12 hours. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analyses, log on to our website, radio.gov.pk, and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.